Hi everybody, welcome. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Asna and I'm the chapter lead for Dubai Women in Data. Also with us is Aanchal Bhalla from our community. She's the lead community coordinator for Women in Data. And this is our very first session. And today we're presenting topic in BI, analytics in Power BI, presented by Naveen Ajmera. Just a little housekeeping. Any questions, please hold them off to the end of the webinar. So now, without any further delay, let's turn over to our presenter. Um, Hi, Naveen.
Hi, Asna. Let me first congratulate you on starting this new chapter here in Dubai. Dubai is a community where knowledge sharing and all that. I'm part of, or I'm leading Dubai PowerBI User Group. So I understand the people who conduct these chapters and how do they manage. So kudos to you and your team, and wish you the very best for the future events as well. Just a quick introduction of mine. I'm a chartered accountant by profession, no IT background or no, language or nothing in computer science or computer engineering. Uh, all this grew because of my business background and the position where I was working as a CFO. A lot of data analytics, and this is the requirement everywhere, and people suffer from their reporting needs, not getting the reports in time, not getting the reports accurate, using Excel all the time. But Excel is still a vibrant tool, and in fact my journey started with Excel 2010. That moved me to Power BI. That is how it happened. In 2010 Microsoft introduced a tool called Power Pivot, which is a data modeling tool. I was fortunate enough to come across with that tool in that period itself, and not much material available to learn from online, or just a small community getting in touch with Microsoft team who develop these tools or technologies, and making good use of it over 2-3 years, self-learning, doing things trial and error, and but it was wonderful to have Power Pivot in my life. That changed completely the outlook I used to work on the data. And then 2013, another tool Microsoft added in Excel, which is Power Query, which is data transformation or ETL tool. That again was a game changer in terms of a lot of manual work every business user still do on their data cleansing, data transformation work, reshaping, and all that. So after having Power Query and Power Pivot both together in Excel, it was like a dream come true. And 2015, Microsoft integrated these two into Power BI. So that's how Power BI came into existence. So many people, if they say that they are using Power BI for 7-8 years, so don't be surprised. Most of people say, "Oh, this is only 5-year old. How do you say?" So like I'm now 10 years in Power BI. So Power BI added the layer of visualization, which is again a game changer in terms of Microsoft didn't have before that any of these kind of visualization tool or BI tool in that sense. You had all your SSAs, SSRs, but nothing of this sort, which put them in a complete different league. And today, Gartner in their annual quadrant magic for the BI, Microsoft is being treated as a leader because of the Power BI, for last 3 continuous years. So that's how my journey started in 2018. I left the job and started training other people, and then a lot of corporate training and now corporate project consulting completely into Power BI. So I just do Power BI, nothing else. But it's wonderful what I did, not knowing much about the technology in terms of, but knowing business well, having that business sense, and knowing data well, it is kind of a combination which actually business look for. Otherwise, most of the people come from IT background. Their understanding on the tool and the technology will be very strong, but somewhere they lag in business understanding. So that gap is still there in the market, but Power BI, the way it comes up, it excited many of the business users like me to learn these tools and adopt these. So it is a very fast growing tool now, and you see most of the the job profile nowadays asking for Power BI as a skill set, and still people are not finding. So a good time for newcomer or even the existing senior BI professionals to have Power BI in the armor as a skill set going forward. It will be another big thing. And another advantage of Power BI is being in Microsoft ecosystem. You see a lot of Microsoft other AI technologies like machine learning, Azure, whatever, cognitive text analytics, and everything they are trying to integrate into Power BI, which is for people like me is, you cannot even imagine that without knowing much of a coding, you still can achieve those things. So a big, thumbs up for Power BI, the team, the way they developed it and is still developing it. And people who are using it, they are, I would say, always now, whenever, and Power BI keep evolving. 15 when I started using Power BI, it was still in infancy. Lot many, the things were not working well, or features were, requiring a lot of tweaking and all that. But in last 4 years, 5 years, the way it moved, every month we get update. And in the middle somewhere, while busy in my project work, consulting work, it was very hard to keep the pace with the changes happened in Power BI. But I'm happy, the project which I did 2 years before for a client, today I go back to them, add those new features which Power BI added, and they are quite happy with the tools what they are using today. So this was a small intro of mine, as well as an overview of Power BI, that what it is and why it is, and why people should think even about going for Power BI if they want to. So that was a small brief on that. What I'll do in today's session, first I'll do a small demo, assuming that most of the audience who are going to see this later or are in the webinar today don't have knowledge about the Power BI. So I'm starting with very basic, that how this tool is so easy to start with for anyone. And most of them I'm talking about anyone is like the business users or the business analysts. They need not to worry about learning this tool as a fresh learner or anything. The initial learning is very fast, and in next 10 minutes, what I'm going to show you, you will realize that yes, how easy it is. And then in the next session for 10-15 minutes, I'll give some demo of my actual work, business use cases, that what advanced use you can make of Power BI, and then we'll have a Q&A in the end. So let me start. So let me open a new Power BI desktop. So Power BI desktop is a free tool, free download tool from Power BI website of Microsoft. It requires nothing, no license, nothing. It is more of a personal tool on your desktop, which is basically required for your all development work on Power BI, right? So when you say development, means fetching data into Power BI, developing those reports, doing data modeling, and all sort of development stuff happens in Power BI desktop. So this is the Power BI desktop window first time when you open it. Uh, Clean, nothing out of box, there is nothing. You come to the report page where it is called home screen or the report screen. Get data is the button where you connect to different data sources. So data sources is very important for every BI tool, that how many tools it allows you to connect to the BI tool, which is very important. So here if you see a long list of data sources, there are more than 200 plus. And with the open sources, you can develop your own sort of a connector in case if the connector is not available in Power BI. So you have Excel, text, CSV, JSON, folder, PDF, SharePoint, your SQL databases, SSAS models, and all that. From IBM to SAP to Oracle, all sort of databases, what you can think of, and then a lot of applications, including your Google Analytics, GitHub, and Facebook, and all sort of social media, your R, Python, anything you can think of. So most of the work which we do in normal business, all are available there. What I'm going to show you in today's session is a small demo of one Excel data, kind of a retail data. So let me connect to Excel data. So I just bring in that data into Power BI. Now this particular Excel file having 4 sheets in it, 3 are the dimension table and 1 of them is the fact table. Most of you coming from the data background, so I'm not describing anything about the fact and dimension table, but these are the 4 sheets. It is kept as a sheet in my Excel. And here you have 3 buttons where one says load, the other one says transform data, and then the cancel. Transform data is the Power Query as I described in Power BI, that it comprises of 3 different tools within one Power BI. So transform data where you go and reshape, cleans, or your transform your data. So data we never get clean in today's real world. You will have a lot of data issues, so you do all sort of cleaning what required for your data cleansing. So Power Query is very powerful tool for the data cleansing work. So if you see here, I brought in these 4 sheets because it was an unstructured sheet in my Power BI in Excel. It connected to that source you see on the formula bar.
Naveen?
Uh, so this is the Power Query, the tool for data transformation. And what are we seeing here is that automatically some steps being created. So Power Query recognizes the data quality, it promoted the header as well in the table, and it changed the data type. So you see if there is a date column, unfortunately in this, it created this as a number for some reason. I can manually now change it to date. So I can quickly do the transformation myself if required. And let's say I have a geography table here where I have the city, which is actually having a concatenate city, state, and the country as well. I can quickly do a transformation step over here, and I say extract the text before delimiter, which is first comma. So it allows me to do that, and it simply gives me a clean data of only the city column, right? And it created that step. So it becomes automation. Next time, if I'm bringing new data, automatically that will be taken care by these steps. So the transformation happens automatically. I need not to redo it again. So more or less, and then you see user interface is quite robust. Most of the pattern is very, user interface is very self-explanatory. When a user from Excel background comes to this tool and he knows what to do and what to, yes, it requires a little bit of, logical learning onto the tool, but again, very easy. Then you have R script and Python script, which you can use to transform your data within Power Query. So it makes it much more stronger. Let's assume that I've done with all my cleansing of data in this particular data set. So I say close and apply. And when I close and apply, it take me to another window, which is basically the same window where we came from and where the data model being created. And you will see on the screen that it automatically create the relationship between my fact and dimension table. So it is just loading the data, and the technology behind the data modeling is called Vertipack engine, which compresses data very heavily, like almost 5 to 10x, depending on the data. And now we see the data in the data model. So if you see here, these 4 tables which I had in my Excel file, brought it through the Power Query, did some transformation, and a relationship, knowing that there is a key into my fact table as well as in dim table automatically being created. But in date table, it doesn't create automatically because of a confusion within the fact table. You might have multiple dates. So you can manually create a relationship like this. Again, the relationship is many to many, one to one, one to many, and all that sort of concept of data modeling exists here. And once your relationship is being done, and data modeling is one of the most important concept of Power BI. It requires a good amount of understanding that how your data wins, what the output you are looking for, and accordingly you're setting up your data model. And then you go to your report page where you see all these. So now it is relatively easy, where without even writing any formula, I can just put the revenue number over there, and by default it gives me a column chart. I can bring something from category, so let's say a segment from put on axis, and start giving me the result here. And then I have the geography, so I can use state, so I can change the data category type here, which allows me to make it as a state. So automatically when I use it in any visual, it will recognize that as a geographical data, and it will be giving me a map visual by default, which I can always change. So I have in my data 3 states, California, Texas, and New York. And I put the revenue number to determine the size of my bubbles. So it is quite easy. And then this become a complete interactive. So you see from one side, I'm playing with my state, California, and on other side, my visuals are interacting with each other. Now, this is without me doing any formula writing or anything, but using the DAX formula language, which is the language behind the Power BI data modeling. So I can simply write new measure. People who are coming from Excel background, many of the Excel function work as it is in DAX. But apart from that, there are many powerful time intelligence and the logical function and the table function, which make it quite robust. So let me quickly do a total revenue as a measure, and I can simply write a sum, which is again Excel function. But here you have data model, so you need to know your table name and the field name. So I know it is a sales table and where my revenue column is there, and I'm simply summing it up and making it as a measure. I can format it if you want to, in terms of how I'm presenting it onto the report page. So formatting options are there. And this become a measure which I can use anywhere, any point of time in any of the reports. So let me use this as a card. So in my data model, I have total revenue number of 68 million, but I don't know whether it is 1 year, 1 month, 1 year. So here I have my date table. So let me bring as a year as a filter. So I can create a slicer or a filter over here. And I can use the slicer visual into Power BI, which is, so automatically it create the slicer. So let me put this as a 2016 only. Now you will see the number changes, 22.23 million. And then I can bring in another visual, or matrix is another pivot table. So most of the business users love their pivot tables. So I can create quickly a pivot table over here where I put the month in the rows, and maybe some other field from my product table. I put the segment onto the column, and again I put the revenue number over here. So now I have 2-3 visuals in a single page, and the month is showing as a mid-month name. I think I need to use the month name rather than month. So let me put this. So now I have a table. Again, the month name are coming in alphabetical order. I can quickly set the sort order of dates, the month name. So I go in my table and I say my month name need to be sorted out by the month number. I simply have a sorting method here, sort by column, which I say sorted by month number. And the moment I go back to my report page, I'll see that the month is coming in proper order here, right? So in 5-10 minutes, I was able to create very basic report, but again, quite interactive. I can bring in the date element, maybe let me make it as a slicer with a little bit change here by going to make it a horizontal kind of a slicer here, which is a general tab. So, okay. Instead of, so yeah, I can play with this. So basically this report, I have a full-fledged kind of which I use for my training session. So the same number, same data, what I use there is, I'm showing it you now here. So I have this date slider, then I use a tree map visual, then here I'm using a combo chart with column and the line, and you've got the, and all are having different dimension and all are talking to each other. So when I'm playing with one number, it is talking to each other. So these are the visualization in Power BI, but there are many more other advanced techniques like tooltip, drill through, and bookmark. So I'll show you in my demos how I use that, which is again, good learning on visualization, and that make it much more stronger in terms of telling the story about your data to your stakeholders. So the second page again talk about performance overview. I just want to quickly create some sort of, so here I have timeline March and April. And if I right click on, so I see March number is showing me 4.7 million, and here I have April number is showing 4.6. So a very small fall in the revenue number. But when I right click onto this, a feature called Analyze Explain the Decrease allows me, and it is inbuilt AI feature. I need not to do anything for that, no setting required. I will simply, it work on the timeline, it work on the implicit measures. So I say Analyze Explain the Decrease, and it goes into the whole model where my different dimension and different attributes coming for the revenue, and it explains that the revenue fall is coming, fall or increase, where it is coming from. On a right click, I simply did that. It gives me on the first by state that in March you had 4.7 million, but New York has increased by 0.22 million, but two other states have a decrease, and overall you have 4.6. If I scroll down, the same by region, same by manufacturer. So whatever the other dimension I had in my model and the way model was being set up, the relationship, it is all working here in this visual. And I can use one of that visual. So let's say category wise I'm interested in, and again you have different scatter chart as well as some other charts which you can make use of it. And you simply make this as part of your report. So I click on this add to page button, and it automatically will become part of my, where I can do title and heading change and all that to explain my audience. So basically the next page is being done through using that technique only. So I created one more major called sales variance, which is comparing for 6 months of 15 versus 16, and all these card visual and the variance. And then the variance with the color conditional formatting, I'm showing where the fall is. And it is again very self-explanatory, though very basic data, but you can quickly do it in a half an hour time. If you know a little bit of Power BI, still you can do these kind of dashboard in a very quick time. And now here I see one still, which is my focus brand. I'm comparing it with other brand. So there is a big fall. And then I have a option called drill through. So I'm now more interested in this data point, that where this fall is coming from. So I use the drill through option available in Power BI. And I go to my next page, which is decomposition tree, another AI visual, which is being recently introduced, almost now 6 months. And here you have that the same variance of 3.594. And what is the data point here? If I look at my visualization pan, I'm now looking for 1/16 first 6 months sales variance. And it is giving me a complete breakdown of this decomposition tree, that where this fall is coming from to the last level of my data, which is product in this case. And this is the decrease side, but at the same time AI being built into, I can right click and I say, okay, I don't high value. So show me the increase. Though sales variance is showing a negative, but that negative comprises of positive and negative net. So here I'm seeing still there are some product or which are still in positive territory. So this is again a kind of AI where I say low value, and it will take me to the low value product where the fall is coming from. And then I can interact with other visuals. I can look at the different dimension on other visuals and interact and see that what is happening. So again, a very simple way of doing this Power BI report, especially for Excel user, or even for a new data analyst who is coming to in this profession, is very easy to learn these tools in terms of learning and creating these kind of dashboard. But this is not as simple as it looks when you are in the real world, when you are doing real business project and the business requirement. It become complex, and I'm going to show you in next 5-10 minutes some of my real demos which I developed on Power BI. So let's look at the first thing I want to show you is using regressive analysis, which basically to finding a correlation between two variables. So here in UAE, we all know that our oil price is linked to the world market price, but we get the change in price every month end or every beginning of the month. So what it is determining is that the two variables, one is the UAE retail price and the other one is the OPEC basket price, which is in dollar terms, and a strong correlationship between these two, almost 0.96 is the coefficient. And using Monte Carlo simulation, again, I am simulating that what if my price, move in a range. Let's say, what if the OPEC basket price go to 50 level? What would be my actual retail price in UAE market? So it gives me 1.95. I play with the slider and I say, what if it is $60 or what if it is $90? So it gives me that result using the Monte Carlo simulation. And again, very simple technique in Power BI using Simulatics, using DAX. I'm able to give my user or the business a nice way to present, and at the same time easier way to go into a action taking mode and decision taking mode by looking at these dashboard. Another one on what if analysis. So here again, the similar kind of technique being used, but very simple, again, writing a simple measures. So in all scenario, I have a 24.66 million revenue. But what if, let's say I'm making a strategy, a price decrease, or I want to give a discount of 10% on all my product. So what will happen? A simple calculation will give me 10% decrease in overall sale. But with price increase, I expect the volume to increase more than that to make it strategy more beneficial in terms of getting right numbers, or rather 15% increase in the volume. So let's say if I do a 15% increase, the overall calculation is 3.5% in revenue increase. Again, these are simple. You can do an Excel calculation on your calculator, but then things become more complex where you have multiple scenario. Now I'm running these stores in these cities in UAE. I say, no, this particular scenario I want to apply on Dubai city. And then it will be talking to my historical data and saying, then you will gain by 1.33%. Then my other stakeholder on the product side, inventory side or logistics sides, they come up with that, no, we can do only on these 5 products. So then the scenario changes and gives you, now I play with my strategy. Okay, let's do it 20%. 15% price decrease and create another scenario 20%. So playing with the data, decision making become easier, the action taking become easier. You need not to go back to your Excel sheets and do all these sort of calculations again and again. Making these kind of models, you can create scenario and quickly reach to the decision making process of yours. Then I have KPI Scorecard, again done for a large organization, where they are monitoring their rating based on different KPIs. So like 8 KPIs here, 4 financial, 4 operational, and these reports are live. So as and when the data flow in into the Power BI through their system, ERP system, it keeps changing. It gives them the online reporting kind of a thing. So Q1, Q2, and then I have using bookmark technique, clicking here to follow the link. So I want to see, okay, I'm in Q2, but how the quarter, month on month, it panned out. So I go to the detail pages to see the trend analysis, what has happened on month. And then I can go to another page by clicking these bookmarks. So this is financial KPI, this is operational KPI, looking into these, each of them and monitoring them, what is happening. Then I go back to main page. So again, a lot of visualization technique in this, apart from my DAX formula writing being done. A simple visualization on EPL, English Premier League table, to make it look much more fancier. Normally you see all these on your different websites. So here I use a bbc.com sports website data connected to Power BI. Power BI connect to the web data as well, and created this. Unfortunately, it is not happening. The refresh is not live. But the objective of this was showing, using those conditional formatting icons and making these kind of, in business scenario, you can do similar kind of visuals, which make it more appealing in terms of understanding the data, in terms of visualization. Then I'm coming from a finance background, so a lot of financial reporting, more operational reporting I do again in this. The data connected to the Oracle system for a group, and these are the different group companies. So as a coming as a whole group data, but I have these buttons being given. So if I slice and dice for one particular organization, I can see that similar fashion I've created these bookmarks so I can analyze my revenue, direct cost on the same page I'm looking at, and then I have month timeline and all that. And on second page, receivable and payable are one of the main component of the business for their cash flow monitoring. So coming in a very nice manner, the way business look at numbers, they can see that what is happening on daily basis or monthly, weekly, whatever the time frame the data is flowing into the Power BI, and monitor each of single customer, including the the individual customer. They can click on and see that how that customer fared during the in terms of their receivable. Then I have little more advanced cohort analysis. Many data analysts, love these kind of advanced analytics. So this is cohort analysis, which is basically customer retention. So on the first chart, on the second chart, you are seeing that the company started somewhere in quarter 15, and they made in first quarter 265 new customer, which goes down to a level of 156. On top, you have a percentage of the same. So basically what it is saying is 53% retention over last 3 years, this particular company, as far as their customer loyalty is concerned. And these are their sales team. So who the salesperson who are more focusing on their customer, or their retention rate is higher than other one, or overall average. So you can slice and dice with, and then you have different customer groups. So where I'm losing more customer, where I'm gaining more customer. So all these reports are being done on Power BI using, the base ERP system. One thing which I missed about how do you share these reports. So let's say you have this report ready on your Power BI desktop tool. So for sharing, you require a license. That's where the license come into the picture, and it is again comparatively very cheap license to buy. Most of the organization who are having their Microsoft technology, Office 365 and other Office Azure, and the Power BI is part of some of the subscription, but otherwise it is a $10 per user per subscription. So that is required to share the report. So I have my license. Let me log in quickly. And once I log in, then I can publish it to my domain, where from I can share it with other users. So I sign into my account, and once I'm signing in, it will show my name over there, the username, and then immediately I can publish it. Oops. Right, so publishing, again, very simple. I just publish it, I make the changes saved on this file, and I have my workspace there. I have apps and all that. So I select one of my workspace, which is having access by other users in my organization, or I can share it with them. So simply sharing this with other users. Apart from sharing, so once I share it, it pop up in my workspace. So the same report, same interaction, everything remains same. And from here, I can share it with other users as well. I can embed it in my SharePoint on my website. I can publish to web. So sharing is quite easy. And then there is a tool called Analyze in Excel. So many of the business users love, despite of having Power BI, they still want to see their report in Excel. So there's another Analyze in Excel. So there are a lot many other things as far as the license version is concerned. So I think you've got a glimpse of overall, the usability of Power BI as a business user's LBI tool. And row level security is also available. There is a lot of data governance, a lot of other techniques, the data flow, shared data set, and a lot of advanced things what Microsoft have introduced. So now it become a complete enterprise level solution for a large set of organizations. So yes, this was all from me. To you, Asna, back to you. Any question, answer from participant, I would welcome to answer them.
Thanks, Naveen. That was a really, really insightful and I think we all may have some questions. So
Sure.
let's move to the question answer round. Does anyone have any questions? Am I still
Hi,
audible?
this is Shri here.
Hi, Shri.
Hi, I got a doubt. Does this Power BI give us real streaming data? Does it
Yes,
support?
there is a live streaming as well there. So you need to create the data set or so it is on cloud version. Yes, you can have that live streaming.
On premises? Does it?
On premise, I doubt. It is more to on premises. I doubt.
Okay, when our data set is too long, right, for 2 years or 3 years, how do we capture it on Power BI? Do we need as far as we were doing, we were supposed to do from MongoDB to Power BI, and we have only on-premises option, and we don't see any connector. CData connector was also not supporting. Any idea on that?
I'm not expert on that side, but yes, if you are having on-premise report server, usually when you say large data size, different databases option. SQL Server database is the best one nowadays. So you need to explore on that. Not very sure on these on-premises databases and the connect. But there are open source data connector available, or you can select your own connector in case if it is not available.
Okay, the features like AI and predictive, whichever you showed, all these are supported in cloud, right? Mostly
Most of,
in cloud. Yeah.
absolutely, most of them are. Because
Okay.
for AI, that requires the capability.
Okay. Yeah, I see that actually many of them are on cloud.
Yeah, I think moving cloud. I'm currently working on some of the large name like banks or some government organization. And, so yes, earlier they were all a little bit hesitant going cloud, but now looking at the capability that is available in the cloud and data center coming into UAE, it make more sense for most of the organizations to move to cloud. Any other question, Asna? Any other user?
Anyone else? Anyone else have any questions?
There's a question in the chat. MongoDB HDFS streaming we didn't get.
Yeah, I think the same question being asked now. See.
Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Okay, Naveen, I had a question.
Yes, sure.
So when it comes to connectors, do you know if the latest Power BI has connections to SharePoint or OneDrive directly?
OneDrive directly, no, but I believe SharePoint is still there. So let me have a look here. So when you look at the data, okay, I'm not sharing my SharePoint folder is there, Asna.
Okay.
OneDrive is not there. OneDrive, actually, how OneDrive works is in OneDrive you keep your file in folder. Let's say Excel CSV file. I think we are getting echo from someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in OneDrive, you keep your data in the folder, let's say Excel, CSV, or any other file, and you connect to those data sources. So if it is an Excel file in your OneDrive, then you connect to that. But the good thing about the schedule refresh in from OneDrive, it automatically happens. You need not to do anything. So that make it much more easier using OneDrive as a data source. So OneDrive is not a data source, but whatever you are keeping in OneDrive become a data source.
Because many times, there are situations where you have multiple people working on the same file. And I think for that, instead of getting it updated manually, I think it's a better option.
It make a lot of sense to keep it in OneDrive and then connect to Power BI.
Yeah.
Agree.
Any questions, anyone?
Yes, so the last one more thing which I want to, normally I share in all my presentation is, the tool technology, whatever you might be using, not necessarily I use Power BI, but there are many tools available, but it is not about the tool and technology. What I find important is, and I come from business background, so I can say it very strongly that business doesn't care what technology or tool you are using to give them their, solution or making their life easier, right? So every aspirant business BI professional, or even the existing professional who are using advanced tools and technology, they need to think that more than technology, they need to focus on what business is looking for. That their problem is where their problem lies. They have many questions: what, why, when, and all that. How you can answer them, whatever technology you are using, so that business sense alongside your data and the technology skill set make you much more powerful BI professional. And I proudly say that wherever I so far delivered in terms of my projects, it was more of my background of business and the finance that helped me. Yes, tool add to that, but certainly that helped me adding more value to my solution which I provide. So that is a small message for every newcomer into BI or learning any new tool or technology.
Very true. And I think it's also the storytelling skills that that actually matter, that fills the gap between the tool and the end business user.
Absolutely. So if you understand the other side, automatically you use the technology, you use the tool, and you make that data as a storytelling and give the the user the experience what they normally look for or beyond their expectation.
Right. So any questions? Anyone? Any final questions? Okay. Okay. No questions. Okay. Thank you, Naveen. Thanks a lot for that. It was wonderful to have you, and the presentation was really insightful. We're really happy that we had this opportunity.
It was all my pleasure, Asna, and I'm passionate about the tool. I'm passionate about the sharing knowledge. So even in future, as your community is growing, you want any help from my side, I'm always there to helping you or the community for that.
Yeah, I think it was a real learning experience for all of us, and we hope to have more sessions by you in the future, hopefully.
Thank you so much, and in the end, keep excelling with Power BI. That is my tagline.
Thank you so much.